Well before the 1st century, the Greeks began to cultivate the soils in southern Italy. The region's climate was so favorable and its soils so fertile, they called it Enotria, the land of wine. Today, Italian wine is a key sector of the Italian economy in terms of production, employment and export of made in Italy. Italy's important role in the world of wine goes beyond economic facts. It's an expression of art. Italy is the top wine producer in Europe, ahead of Spain and France. Italy is also the world's leading exporter of wine, vermouth, spirits, cordials and wine vinegar. Italy's wine regions expand from South Tyrol to Sicily with important protected designations of origin. The list of prestigious Italian wines is long, from A like Amarone in the north to Z like Sibibbo in the south. Wine is an essential part of Italian cultural history. An important witness are the beautiful land sittings of illustrious winemaking family dynasties, or the exceptionally well-preserved archaeological sites that point to the roots of Italian viticulture. The soil of limestone clays is the secret of this land. Wine growers have significantly increased the value of Sicilian wines such as Nero d'Avola, Pericone, Catarratto and Nerello Mascalese. Between Trapani and Marsala, close to the shallow lagoons with the Marsala salt pans and windmills, the small island Mozia is known for its impressive archaeological remains and, of course, its top wine.
Questo è un tipo di vigneto intanto ad alberello. La qualità dell'uva è il grillo.
This is a type of vineyard called alberello. The quality of the grapes is grillo. As you can see, the plants are kept low as small trees to better cope with the strong winds. And this is where Grillo di Mozia comes from. Highly appreciated are also the excellent dessert wines such as Marsala, Sibibbo and Passito di Pantelleria. In Sicilian, this is called Spuzzarizar. This is the green pruning of the wine. It's the cleaning of the plant for the coming year to enhance the quality by removing the twins. Italian viticulture is about making beautiful landscapes work and preserving them for future generations. A fascinating melding of vineyards, country lanes, villages, farmhouses and wineries.
degustando un vino che viene da Vigna San Lucio.
I'm tasting a wine that comes from the vineyard San Lucio. It is a very old vineyard from 1959. It is the basis of the most important wine of the estate, which is Rosso del Conte. It is made by Nero d'Avola and Pericone in blends that is from the same vineyard. It matures for a year and a half in French oak barrels.
The ground is becoming increasingly volcanic. We are in the Etna area.
Questi sono invece I funghi di ferula.
These are ferula mushrooms. This is a typical mushroom of Etna. It grows in this period and also in autumn. Simply roasted and then seasoned with parsley, garlic and pepper. With a nice glass of Etna white wine, this is the food of the gods. The Etna's many eruptions have made the soils rich in stones. Specific forms of terraces were created with stabilizing stone walls. The richness and diversity of soils makes the slopes of the Etna volcano a playground for wine growers.
Ci ritroviamo in una contrada a 800 metri sul
We are in a contrada 800 meters above sea level. It is called a contrada Piano d'Ario. We are at the northern limits of the Etna dock. Here we have a 4-hectare vineyard of Nerello Mascalese, which we now manage. We vinify separately in our winery in the Contrada Rampante, and then we bottle it as a single vineyard and name it Etna Rosso Contrada Piano d'Ario. Not only Sicily, but also other regions in southern Italy have further stepped up their game as wine producers in recent years. Calabria is known for Ciro and Greco. Puglia is a large producer of Negro Amaro and Primitivo. Campania stands for Fiano di Avellino, Greco di Tufo and Aglianico. Montepulciano is the main grape in Abruzzo and Molise. Moving towards the center, there is Verdicchio from Marche, Orvieto and Montefalco from Umbria, Frascati and Cesanese from Lazio, and Lambrusco from Emilia-Romagna. Our next stop is Tuscany, home to Vernaccia and Sangiovese grapes, with famous wines such as Vernaccia di San Gimignano, Brunello di Montalcino, Vino Nobile di Montepulciano, and of course, Chianti Classico.
Panzano in Chianti si trova proprio nel cuore.
Panzano is located in the heart of the Chianti Classico area. We are at an equal distance of 32 kilometers from both Siena and Florence. The great Florentine and Senesi families have always fought to get more land within this territory of excellence. The Black Rooster distinguishes this territory for centuries and stands for a legend of competition for this area between Senesi and Florentines. For wine growers, it's important to market their wines, a challenging task complicated by the pandemic.
Il lockdown è arrivato proprio nel mese di marzo.
The lockdown came in March, and so we had to cancel all kinds of events. Usually we travel a lot in spring. This is the period of the two most important international wine trade shows, with ProWein in Düsseldorf and Vinitaly in Verona. On top of that, we travel worldwide promoting our wines in Asia, the United States and Europe. This year we had to stay at home, and so we took even more care of our vineyards. What makes the wine business so special? What are the ingredients for success, and how do they compare, let's say, to the steel sector?
Per avere un po' di successo bisogna divertirsi nel lavoro che si fa.
In order to be successful, you have to have some fun in your job. If you do not enjoy your work, you cannot be successful. In the steel sector, steel is a commodity, so we need to maximize efficiency and the reduction of costs. In the wine sector, in order to make some money, you need to create wines that become a brand. That's the ideal way.
Riuscire a fare dei vini che diventano un brand. Questo è l'ideale.
Important investments have been made in recent years, thereby trying to minimize the impact on the environment in an area that is a candidate for UNESCO World Heritage status.
Siamo qua nella nostra cantina nel Chianti Classico.
We are here at our winery in the Chianti Classico area that we have inaugurated in 2012. It was a project that took 7 years to succeed. The idea was to create a winery that would hardly be noticed from the outside.
When traditional winemaking meets innovative styles, then the so-called Super Tuscans come into mind, with the use of Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc and Merlot. This famous category also paved the way to the little miracle of Bolgheri. The intensely cultivated Maremma area is home to one of Tuscany's newest DOCGs, the Morellino di Scanzano. Further north, Montalcino is another great traditional area of Tuscany. The famous Brunello di Montalcino was among the very first wines to get the DOCG status in 1980. With its particular geography within the UNESCO World Heritage Site Val d'Orcia, Montalcino generates wines of great aging potential.
Siccome in Italia abbiamo
Since in Italy we have hundreds of types of grapes and areas to generate great wines, it is not easy to get across a global message. This is why we need to interact with the consumer. In a nutshell, we need to tell the consumer that there is such an important heritage in Italy.
In poche parole, dirglielo che esiste un patrimonio così importante in Italia.
Italian viticulture has two main origins. The Greek one, imported during the colonization in Magna Graecia, and the Latin one that was considered the native. These two great millenary viticultural roots had such a strength, nobility and charm that winemakers always tried to preserve and to revive them.
Qui c'è questo punto d'incontro.
So when this naturalistic element meets individual human sensitivity, the outcome must be art. Winemaking in its perfection can be seen as an art. At the same time, art can become a means of communication with the consumer.
La passione, l'amore.
The passion, the love for art, in this case the contemporary sculpture, was born from a necessity in the 70s when we started our activity of a profound change in Italian wine.
Di un profondo cambiamento del vino italiano.
Contemporary arts had become a vehicle to talk about a wine that was totally different from what the consumer was used to drink in the 70s. An interpretation, an expression, refining the elements of nature.
Il nostro fulcro,
our focus, our DNA, our drink, our pleasure was born with the Barbera grape.
Grazie al nostro padre che ha trasformato questo vitigno.
That is the merit of our father, who managed to transform this grape from a simple and trivial consideration to a very important wine. He demonstrated that by doing a good job in the vineyards and in the winery, you can create a very, very important wine.
Un vino molto, molto importante.
The vineyard landscape of Piedmont is a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
We are
in the Langhe area, near Alba, in the province of Cuneo. This is one of the most prestigious and famous territories in the world of Italian wine. These are the lands of Barolo, but Nebbiolo, Barbera and Dolcetto d'Alba are also being produced, as well as important white wines. I produce the 4 typical wines of the area. In the winery, I separate the grape marc from the wine. I care about the vinifications and everything myself. Therefore, there is a straight line from the land to the bottled wine. An outstanding wine culture has shaped the landscape over the centuries. Within a kilometer, the soils and wines change completely.
Allora, qui ci troviamo alla Morra, uno degli 11 comuni del Barolo.
Here we are in La Morra, one of the 11 municipalities of Barolo. We are a small family-run business with a history similar to many others in this area. That is, my grandfather already had vineyards and my dad has continued the business, and now I'm continuing the activity as the 3rd generation, and we have slightly expanded the winery.
Ci troviamo nel cuore della cantina principale della mia famiglia.
We are in the heart of my family's main winery. This is one of the 4 wineries that in these 3 generations have been acquired or created by Ceretto.
Quando parlo di un Barolo o quando...
When I talk about Barolo or when I describe our latest artistic project, I'm actually addressing the same passionate people who are always looking for new ideas.
Sempre alla ricerca di nuovi stimoli.
We are in Friuli Venezia Giulia now, at the foot of the Julian Alps and close to the border with Slovenia. This is the area of the Ribolla grape.
Abbiamo curato sempre molto la Ribolla come...
We have always taken care of Ribolla, as happened immediately across the border. Over the years, we thought of developing a particular production that is a quality sparkling wine based on Ribolla grapes. About 50 years ago, we noticed that Ribolla grapes could give us a wine very suitable to be transformed into high-quality sparkling wine. In a nutshell, our expertise is to make champagne from Ribolla.
Fare uno champagne dalla Ribolla.
Cividale del Friuli in the Collio area is home to the Tempietto Longobardo. The stucco decorations from the 8th century contain references to vineyards of the region. The climatic characteristics of Collio are unique and particular. We are just 20 kilometers away from the Adriatic Sea. The Collio is famous for producing very prestigious white wines made of Friulano, Ribolla Gialla, Malvasia Istriana, Chardonnay, Pinot Bianco, Pinot Grigio and Sauvignon Blanc. For someone who started with wines from Istria that were well known and then went to Collio already in 1938, this is a great satisfaction to see the generational change intact, with the young people staying. Amarone, Soave, Valpolicella, Prosecco. Let's move on to Italy's largest wine producer, the Veneto region, which is also Italy's most important producer of Grappa. Italy's oldest Grappa producer is located in Bassano del Grappa. Grappa is primarily served as an after-dinner drink and may also be added to espresso. Grappa derives from the distillation of the marc, that is the peel, the pulp and the seed of the grape, after the winemaking process. The distillation has a long tradition and follows a series of strict criteria and tests.
Tutti gli altri paesi del mondo hanno.
All countries in the world have their own traditional distillate. Think of Mexico with tequila or mezcal or vodka in Russia. In Italy, the traditional flagship distillate is Grappa, and it has now finally got protected status in the European Union. The Conegliano Valdobbiadene area is the home of the Prosecco Superiore DOC G. Conegliano is known for great expertise in winemaking, which is also due to the chemist and enologist Antonio Carpenè.
Antonio Carpenè, il fondatore dell'azienda.
Antonio Carpenè, the company founder, as well as my great-great-grandfather, was a huge enthusiast and scholar.
Era una vecchia cultura.
His greatest desire was to revive an old culture, to bring viticulture and the wine itself to the next level. For that purpose, he strongly wanted the birth of the first wine school in Italy, which is the Cialetti Institute here at Conegliano.
The famed Prosecco Hills are one of the most beautiful areas of the Veneto. Let's finally move to Italy's northernmost wine region, the Trentino Alto Adige, located right on the border with Austria. Trentino is the region of the Trento DOC, the Metodo Classico sparkling wine.
Il Trento DOC è una bollicina di montagna.
The Trento DOC is a mountain sparkling wine. It is a classic method sparkling wine with a second bottle fermentation. It is created with Chardonnay and Pinot Noir grapes, grown on the mountains of our Trentino. Set among the vineyards is Villa Margon. Its original frescoes from the 16th century reference the region's great tradition of viticulture, which today is characterized by the classic Teroldego, Schiava and Lagrein grapes, and international varieties such as Chardonnay and Pinot Nero. Mario Soldati said wine is the poetry of its land. We want Trento DOC to be the expression of Trentino mountain viticulture, a bit of a song of our Trentino.
Attraverso una bottiglia di vino italiano.
Through a bottle of Italian wine, there is a real message of Italian spirit, And this is very popular, especially in countries that love Italy or that envy Italy, and there are quite a few doing so. There is a fascinating world of Italian wine. We have only seen a few of the many excellent winemakers in Italy. Italian wine is an immense economic heritage of Made in Italy. The great tradition, quality and passion make it an expression of art and hope.